Hi guys, in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to DIY two glam wall mirror decor in teardrop shape, and our color today is black and silver. Okay, black and silver wall decor. So I'm going to start with Dollar Tree foam board, and I'm just taking the outer layer paper off. I'm doing that both sides, and then I'm going to draw my teardrop shape, and I'm going to be making 4 of these, 2 same size, 1 large and 1 small. Today I'm using mirror that I already have, broken pieces of mirror, and I'm going to use my glass cutter, and I'm just going to trace the shape of my teardrop and cut out the piece. So you're going to use Walmart mirror for this. They sell them for about $7, and then you just take it out the frame. Just be careful when you're taking it out the frame, and then just use your glass cutter to cut out the shape of your teardrop. So I'm making 4 separate teardrop cut for my wall decor only because I have small pieces of mirror. If you buy your mirror, then you're going to use 1 piece, okay? And I'll show you what I mean further on in the video. So now I'm just placing my pieces on a piece of foam board, and I'll be drawing a larger teardrop around those pieces. So I'm just trying to get them to line up properly. So what I'll do is I'll draw the teardrop on one side, cut out the piece from that side, and then use that side to draw the second side, and that way both sides will be equal. Just watch as I do this. So I'm using my square ruler to find the center, and the center will be 6 inches because my teardrop will be 12. And then I'll just use my X-Acto knife to cut down the center. And now I'll just use a piece of tape to put those halves back together. And now I'll have to align my pieces again just to make sure that they're straight. And I'll just trace them out and use my X-Acto knife. You want to make sure that you're using a sharp blade, okay, so you won't have jagged edges. I had an extra step because I didn't use a sharp blade. So I'll be adding some texture, and I'm going to be using my tacky glue along with my Dollar Tree sand. And I'll just use my paintbrush to spread the tacky glue, and then I'll apply my sand. I left it to dry overnight, and then I'm going to be using my nickel spray paint from Rust-Oleum, And I'm actually using my chrome spray paint, but I only have enough for one layer, so I'm improvising. I'm just using the nickel underneath, and then I'll use my chrome on top. After the spray paint is dry, then I'm going to add another layer of my foam board just to make it a little thicker, because I want it to be 1/2 inch. I'll also be using a piece of plywood. I'm going to be using my Gorilla Wood glue to join the 2 pieces of foam board, and then I'll place some weights on top, and I'm just going to use my jigsaw to cut out my plywood. And to add my plywood, I'll be using my same Gorilla Wood glue. So remember, I told you I used small pieces of mirror because that's what I have. You're going to use 1 mirror, so you're going to make 1 cut, and now is when you would add it. So your mirror is going to be the same size as the plywood and the foam board, and you'll add it right between. So now mine is 1/2 inch thick, but yours would be a little bit thicker with the mirror. So now I'll just add my mirror pieces, and I'm just making sure that they will sit directly on the wood before I apply my glue. And to apply my mirrors to the plywood, I'll just use my Loctite PL530 construction adhesive. So this is the extra step that I told you about. Because my X-Acto knife was not sharp, then the edges between the mirror on the sides, it's not really clean, and I need to add my bling ribbon to it right now. So I just have to add a piece of chopping mat before I add my bling ribbon. So try and get your edges sharp, or you could use a piece of sanding paper to rub down the edges. And then if you also use a whole mirror, then you could do this part before you place the frame on top of your mirror. Okay, and I'm just using my basic bling ribbon that I made, and I'm just carrying it over the edges so I can have a smooth transition. So the next step is to apply some glitter, and I'm using my same tacky glue, and I'm just going to spread my tacky glue with my paintbrush. And then I have some bead that I'm going to add in there, but they kind of got lost. My beautiful rhinestone beads, they got lost. They're too tiny, but I realized it quickly, so I didn't use all of it. So I'm just going to add glitter until I like what I see. So I'm just covering up the mirror so I can seal my glitter, and I'm just shaking off the excess, and I'm using a brush to just brush away the excess, and I'm going to take it outside, and I'm using Krylon shortcuts to seal the glitter. And now I'll apply my black rhinestone ribbon to the edge, and I'm just going to leave the back on so it can stay straight on the edges because all the pieces aren't lined up. And for this ribbon, I'll also seal it with the Krylon. And to hang it on the wall, I'll just use these picture frame hooks. So that's it for project number 1. Let's move on to project number 2. This time I'll be using 1 large piece of mirror, And so it's a 1/4 inch mirror. It's 1/4 inch thick, very thick, so it was hard to cut. So the cut is not perfect. So I'll be using this rope to hide my imperfections, okay? And it's a piece of cotton rope. So I got this piece of mirror after I made that first project, so I decided to make a second style. But you will be using the Walmart mirror, which is easy to cut. So I'll be applying my first piece of rope right between the mirror and the foam board, so the foam board can hold the rope. The hot glue won't work if I just put the rope directly on top of the mirror. So I have to add that piece first, and then I'll add a second piece inside so it can hide the edges. So the majority of the glue on the second piece will be on the rope itself. And now I'll add a third piece going right around the edge, directly on top of the edge, so I can make a track to apply my rhinestones. And then I'll add a second piece, and this will be the sides. So I'll have 3 rows on the side. So I added the 3 rows, and I also added my piece of 1/4 inch plywood, and I painted the top black, and I'm using Craft Smart black acrylic paint, and I'm also going to paint the back. So let's add some glam to this wall decor. I'm going to be using these Hobby Lobby vase fillers. It's the same vase filler I used to make my wall sconce last week, and I also used it a few weeks ago to make my center table. So I'm just going to apply tacky glue within that space, and then I'll just apply my beads. And then I'll just use my silver glitter to fill the spots where the glue is still showing. And then I'll use my same picture frame hooks to hang it on the wall, and that is it, guys. What do you think, guys? Which one is your favorite? Do you have a favorite, or do you love them both? Let me know in the comment section which one is your favorite. And I thank you so much for tuning in this week. I really do hope you enjoyed today's tutorial as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Thank you so much for watching. I added the link to last week's video, so if you didn't see it as yet, please go and check it out. Just click right there on the left and you can watch from there. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next Friday. Bye bye.